On the Tonal, absolutely. So they have great programs, how they're structured to give you your desired goal, whether it's maintaining weight, gaining weight, and losing weight. And while I'm there, I step back and just let the coaches do their thing. Now, if I see that there's some form that needs correction, then I'm able to correct it right away. And the community is great where you can go in. They have a Facebook community that you can go in and ask the coaches, and the coaches, they will get back to you. Sometimes it's, 30 minutes, but sometimes it's a little longer. But while they're in the studio and they have questions, I can get to them right away.
Time to hit the gym, better do it smart. Get your own coach, there where you are. Start the day right, there in your home. With the smartest gym in the world, ready, set, go. Smart handle, smart bar, smart training, there you are. Customize, make it right, AI, form advice. Superset will show you what it's all about. It's a total workout.
Welcome to the Superset, episode 4. This is Crystal O'Keefe.
And this is Tom O'Keefe. Hi.
Hi.
I don't know. Normally I would tell like a funny story from our lives, but nothing funny happened. Do you got something?
Well, I was going to say you don't have to go back to the morgue.
That's true. I don't know if we talked about the morgue on the Superset.
I don't know that we did either.
On the clip out. But,
yeah.
So I have I do concert promotion, and I work at a mid-size arena in the market, and we're owned by county government, and because there's not a lot to do in the concert industry, they had farmed us out to help with a surge morgue in town, and I
was working nights.
I was working overnights.
Yeah.
I was working weekend overnight shifts, so I would do 3 days overnight, 2 days day shift, and then 2 overnight, 3 day, and I've been doing that for 3 months. So
yeah,
they finally said I don't have to do that anymore.
Yay.
So that was a pleasant surprise.
It was.
So, but I am happy to be working.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. We are not complaining.
Yes. I'm sure there are people out there out of work or furloughed that are like, quit your bitching.
For sure. For sure. And they have every right to feel that way.
Yeah. So, but it's also nice to not to have to go to the morgue anymore. So that's good times.
Yeah.
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 So that's update on me anyway. So what do you have in store for people this week?
Well, Tonal had a whole bunch going on with Pride. So we're going to get everybody updated on all the different Pride events. We're going to talk about the different events that took place for the coaches. There is some new fitness news, about Tonal's rivals. And then, of course, Tonal itself was in the news. So we'll talk about that. And then, let's see, a couple of updates as far as new content. Actually, I think this would be new features and new content.
Okay.
So we're going to cover both.
Awesome. Well, before we do all that, shameless plugs, don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, where you can go and rate, review, subscribe. Wherever you're getting your podcast from, be sure and subscribe so you never miss an episode. That's just the quickest, easiest way to stay on top of all the Tonal news.
Yes.
And you can also, if you just can't get enough of us in audio format, you can find us on the Facebook at facebook.com/Superset Podcast. While you're there, like the page, join the group. The difference between the two, because sometimes people ask.
Oh, yeah.
The group is a little bit easier for you, the listener, to start a conversation. Sometimes if you post stuff on the page, it just gets kind of lost in the shuffle, where the group is a little bit better about putting that in front of people.
Yeah, think of it like the page is the way for you to communicate directly with Tom and I. The group is the way for you to communicate with Tom and I, but also everybody else who's in the group.
Right. So come on in. The water's fine.
Definitely.
So I guess that is all of that. Let's dig in, shall we?
Sure.
The Tonal community giving back.
So by the time people hear this, June will be over, but June will be in the future. I'm pretty sure we're going to have another June.
Heck yeah.
Fingers crossed. Pride Month.
Yes.
And Tonal was doing all sorts of stuff for Pride Month.
Yes. One of the things I actually neglected to put on the list, but as part of Pride Month, is there was actually a Tonal talk all about pride and mental health and kind of all the things that go with being, trying to fit into a community that maybe you might have felt like you didn't belong to before, that kind of thing. So great Tonal talk if you haven't seen it. And all of these Pride events are still out on the Tonal official Facebook page, out on the the group there. And of course, there are links to it within the Superset group as well. So you can find them in either place. Then this past weekend, there was a live Pride workout. So it actually was, I believe it was Coach Pablo, and that makes me laugh because of the cheetah jokes last time. And Coach, he was working out with Coach Liz, and they did a live Facebook workout for Pride. And so every rep lifted by every single person who was doing that workout live had 10 cents donated to the 3 organizations.
And that adds up quickly. Like at first you're like 10 cents, but
per rep?
But per rep.
Per person?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Nobody made fun of the March of Dimes.
That's right. So that was a really cool thing. And then on Sunday, another cool event, the largest ever Pride virtual parade took place on Sunday.
Awesome.
And so that was really cool too. There were all kinds of visitors, if you will. They were people that came in from the organizations that Tonal has been donating to all month, and they were representing the organizations. You could make donations live during the parade, and it was just a very cool event. So in general, Tonal has done a fabulous job covering the Pride Month.
Awesome.
Love it.
And shifting gears a little bit, there is an Ask Coach Jared.
There was. I should have put the date on this one. This occurred.
Well, I guess it's still there, right?
Oh, yeah.
So there still is an Ask Coach Jared.
Okay, that's fair. That's
so
fair.
There.
Yeah. As opposed to the one that you're going to be talking about that's coming up.
Right.
That's down there. I don't know why it's way down there.
Oops. We both failed at our list this week.
We really did.
So what did we get in this Ask Coach Jared?
There was all kinds of really good conversation. My favorite portion was about the mobility. People were asking questions about how to stay mobile. Coach Jared has a whole program dedicated to mobility. And one of the things that I thought was really interesting is that somebody asked within the workout or within the within the chat,
right.
Is it possible to be part of a program? So today, just so you know, Tom, to give you some background, you cannot be part of 2 programs on Tonal at the same time.
Okay.
So if you belong to one and then you want to go do another one, you have to leave the one you're in. And if you don't officially leave it, like nothing bad happens, but like nothing got recorded on the last one. Your progress is gone. So like if you can't just toggle back and forth between 2 programs. But Coach Jared said as part of this conversation, like, hey, somebody asked him, can we like maybe look at putting your mobility program in while also doing an additional Tonal program? Because a lot of the rationale behind not doing 2 programs is you don't want to overdo it.
Right. I was thinking, like, is that even something you want to allow people to do? Because that seems like that could be problematic.
So typically you don't. That's the thing. But with this being mobility, it's based on like stretching and movement. It's not based on lifting heavy weights. So this is a very different thought process. So Coach Jared said that, you know, there had been some conversation, like nothing's set in stone. They don't have it figured out yet. But there's been conversation about maybe looking at ways to allow people to have 2 kinds of programs if in fact it makes sense to do so. Like this mobility one might match certain other programs.
Like have a way to code them so like you can't do like a whole
2
bunch
heavy
of,
ones.
Right.
But you could do like a stretchy one.
Stretchy one.
You could do more of a relaxing, you know, none of these are relaxing, but you know.
Something that's more of a compliment to something you're already doing.
There you go.
It's like it's like your Tonal will become sommelier for workout classes.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
In the meantime, I think the best course of action is just buy a second Tonal.
You think that's the way to do it?
Just get a second one.
Wouldn't it be easier just to log in under a different account and do it over there?
I think Tonal's on my side on this one. I think Tonal right now, anyone listening to Tonal right now is like, Crystal needs to shut up. And everybody needs to buy a second one.
Well, given that it can take up to 12 weeks to get a tonal these days, I think I have a good theory as well. But,
Okay, well, agree to disagree.
All right.
And so the Coach Jared, Ask Coach Jared is living out there on the Facebook, but there is an Ask Coach Francis coming up.
There is July 2nd at 4 p.m. Pacific. So for us, Tom, not that you'll be watching it with me, but just in case you needed to know, that's 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern. And so Coach Francis is the yoga instructor. So you can ask Coach Francis. So you can ask Coach Francis anything appropriate. Again, don't make it weird.
Don't make it weird.
Tonal rivals.
So we've talked a little bit before about Mirror.
I think we have.
Not huge fans of it. I mean, given what we're doing here, it's not shocking.
Yeah.
That
not fans might be a little strong. Like, I just don't, I feel ambivalent.
Yeah, I just kind of, like, you look at it and you just kind of go, I don't really get it.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is a lot of people get Tonal and Mirror mixed up.
Yes.
They hit the market at a very similar time. And aesthetically, they look similar.
They do look similar until you...
At a quick glance.
At a quick glance, yes.
For the people who don't have a lot of details.
For the uninitiated.
Yes.
He said delicately.
Because as soon as you understand
what's going on, you're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Like it's not even close. Because Mirror, first of all, shockingly does not have a touch screen. We talked about that.
Right.
And it basically, the cool thing about Mirror, I got to give it this, is it has live classes. But it's all based on things like calisthenics.
Right.
And so you're kind of limited at what you can do versus Tonal that has the built-in weights, which is just amazing. So very, very different. But people, like I said, see them as kind of similar. Well, shockingly this week, out of nowhere, Lululemon bought Mirror. $500 million. Boom.
How about that?
I know.
So what happens if you use a Mirror now, but you're wearing another brand of leggings? I can't think of another brand of leggings.
Shoots lasers at you.
Oshposh, gosh, bagosh. Is that a brand of leggings?
Shoots lasers at you. No, of course it's not. That's a baby brand. That's like for toddlers.
Babies can be concerned about fitness.
No, they really can't.
Okay, they can't. Garanimals?
Also a children's brand.
I don't know much about fashion. Fruit of the Loon?
Have you heard me talk about like Carbon 38?
There we go.
Okay,
yeah, there was rappers on the bathroom floor this morning.
Yes, got a new outfit. Yes.
So I wonder. It's an interesting acquisition. It's like, oh, people buy this stuff to work out in, so we might as well just own the workout stuff. I guess
it is interesting. I don't really know what to think of it. And people over in the Peloton crowd are kind of freaking out because there's been a lot of partnerships between Peloton and Lulu that they've branded Peloton clothes,
right.
Peloton labels on Lulu clothes, rather.
Right.
And so people are like, can they still do that? I have no idea. But the Chief Executive Calvin McDonald, he's the Chief Executive of Lululemon, says the acquisition of Mirror will accelerate the growth of personalized in-home fitness. I didn't even know that was a thing that they were trying to do. So I guess it's news to me.
Yeah. I think it's also ironic that the what was it? The CEO? Was that his position?
Yeah.
His title? The CEO of Lululemon is Calvin McDonald. The CEO of McDonald's, Calvin Lulu.
Are you messing with me?
I'm totally messing with you.
You said it so seriously. You said it so seriously.
That's how I get you.
And you know weird shit like that.
I do know weird things.
So that could have been a thing.
No, it's not a thing.
Okay. I'm a little disappointed now.
Well, disappointing you is what I do best.
Aw, that's not true. No. So, yeah, this is an interesting way to go. People are a little confused. Like, I didn't know that, an athletic company wanted to be an athletic wear company.
Yeah, totally.
Wanted to be an athletic company.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And also, I'm just kind of surprised they picked Mirror out of all the things.
It's probably the cheapest.
It's funny. $500 million.
Doesn't sound like a whole lot. I mean,
really doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, not like I got $500 million laying around, but for as hot as these companies are right now, like 500 million, it seems like it would be more. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard to gauge.
Well, the Lululemon is traded publicly, and their shares are up 27% in 2020. So.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Right now, the people at Mirror are working diligently to purge all the classes where the instructors are wearing carbon 38 leggings.
Look who's talking about Tonal.
So we have two different articles that are on the internet this week that are referencing Tonal. And it's interesting in that both of them I kind of want to argue with, even though they're not negative overall.
Why did you want to argue with the other one? Okay, I guess we ought to say one is from Gear Patrol, one is from Gizmodo.
Right, so Gizmodo, the title is, I know it's $3,000 and a pain to install, but Tonal is worth it. And I'm like, it's not a pain to install. They come to your house and do it for you.
That's what I thought. But if you read it, if you actually read, I get where she's coming from, even if I don't agree with it.
I will agree with that. Within the context of the article, it makes a lot more sense. The headline, I mean, it's what they do with headlines, but the headline was a little clickbaity and maybe borderline douchey. But in the article, she makes the point of, you know, if you have an apartment or some houses, they just don't have that free wall because you need a certain amount of space and
clearance. It can't have like water behind it. It can't have electricity.
Wires and if you get it wet after midnight. Right? Is that how it works?
No.
Okay.
Although I would never get my Tonal wet. It doesn't matter what time of day it is.
That is not time related. You should not get your Tonal wet, but don't feed it after midnight. There we go. But just the headline was kind of like,
okay.
You're not doing anything.
Yeah.
Once you pick your spot, they do all the work.
and that is true. So I agree with you on that. Although she does redeem herself if you bother to read it. But I get what your point is, that it's clickbaity. Now, why do you not agree with the other one from Gear Patrol?
So the Gear Patrol one was kind of a comparison contrast between Tempo and Tonal.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so overall, they landed on Tempo ever so slightly.
What was their rationale for that?
Really, like, it was essentially a tie. They landed on Tempo because it's a little bit cheaper. But honestly, like, I think they were really missing out on like the personal trainer aspect of Tonal. Like I like there were things that I felt like. There were times I wanted to scream at the article because I'm like, but there's all these things you're not listing. Like, it's like, you know, and and it's interesting. I guess they give it to two different people, and like the person that got the Tempo said they prefer the Tempo, and the person that got the Tonal said they prefer the Tonal.
Well, one person needed to try both.
You would think. I mean, if I'm reading it right, I read it while I was at work, so maybe my reading comprehension isn't what it used to be, but that was kind of my interpretation. But they did not say anything bad about the Tonal. They just thought, you know, it's a little pricey. But again, once you work out what your costs are, and if you're listening to this, you probably already own one, and you already know that, or maybe you're just checking it out. Who knows? But once you actually factor out what you pay at a gym for membership, but a personal trainer,
right,
and disinfecting wipes, so you don't get the Rona.
Yeah.
It's a good value.
Yeah. I don't think that the Tempo is a bad thing, but I think that the Tempo is limited in a couple of ways. One, with having barbells, you're limited in the moves that you can do.
Right.
And also, you're limited in the amount of weight unless you're going to add pieces onto it later that don't come with it. Now, that's probably not something I personally would need to worry about, but I really like the fact that on Tempo, on Tonal, I know I'm covered for a really, really long time. Right. I don't see myself maxing out that 200
probably
pounds.
Not going to outgrow that.
Yeah, I'm thinking no. But I could see that potentially happening on Tempo.
Yeah.
And also, you know, one of the things that I love about Tonal that I just feel like does not get enough coverage from people is the fact that it increases your weight by 1 pound.
Right.
So Tempo, you're back to having traditional barbells. That's not really, it's not really any better.
I think that one of the biggest selling points of Tonal is you don't got to think about it. It's just going to do it for you, and it's going to do it incrementally, and you're not even going to notice, and you're just going to turn around one day
and be like, hey,
look what I'm doing.
Yeah. And also, you still got to store the weights on Tempo.
Right.
So again,
if you're in a small apartment and space is of a premium,
and you have a wall for a Tonal, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, like it's not gonna clutter up the place in the same way. So take that, Gear Patrol.
Yeah.
New Tonal features.
There's a cool new calendar-related feature.
Yes. So on your app, this is really cool. You can track what days you've been working out. That's been around for a little while on your app. And it shows nice little dots that fill in each day. So you feel very accomplished. Bloop. That's right. It does. It actually makes that sound. No, it doesn't. But it should. It should make that sound.
Tonal can take that out. I give them that. I'll give them that bloop. I'll give you another one, Tonal. Here you go. Bloop.
And the new feature is that now you can use that as a screenshot to show people what you've done. Like you can share your calendar view to be like, look at my last 30 days.
That's pretty
Killing
cool.
it. Yeah, that's totally awesome.
Oh, yeah. People are going to dig that.
Yeah. And can I just give a little shout out to Tonal? Because they did that on iOS and Android.
How about that?
You know, I every time they have made an update thus far, it's been for Android too. So that's a huge thing for me.
Because we're an Android household.
Yeah.
We're not Apple people, and we don't want to name any other companies because we'd hate to embarrass Peloton, but they're pretty Apple focused sometimes.
They are very Apple focused.
The Android stuff is kind of late to the game, so it's nice for them.
Very nice
to do both at the same time.
Yeah, I get excited every time. Like I'm spoiled by it now because like I'll go and check, and I used to be like, oh, it's not going to be there,
right?
But now I go and I'm like, it's there, and then I go to the other one and I'm like, it's not there.
Sad trombone.
Sad trombone indeed.
Still waiting for that update for my Moto Q.
Keep waiting. Don't hold your breath. Oh my gosh.
New Tonal content.
So if you hate floor movements, this is your time to shine.
It is. Coach Natalie, she put out a new workout. It is a quick fit, total body for all. 10 minutes. It's for beginners, full body workout. But here's the best part. It has options for each exercise to accommodate different bodies and abilities. So assisted reverse lunge. There are options for people with knee pain. Boom.
How about that?
Upright row. Options for people that have larger breasts and stomach.
Nice.
Boom. Squat jacks with options for lower impact cardio. Boom, boom, boom.
That's
Covered
awesome.
everything. Yeah. How great is that?
Because I'm sure, like, if you have those sort of any of those situations, working out can be intimidating.
Absolutely.
And or frustrating.
Yes.
And so it's nice that there are options out there.
Totally agree.
So thank you, Natalie.
Yes, thank you.
Checking in with the Tonal community.
So joining us today via the magic of ZoomTube, we've switched from the Skype phone. It's Julius Jones. Hey, Julius, how's it going?
I am good. I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. We're very excited.
Yes.
I think I'm more excited than you.
I was excited about the fact that you were having some technical issues getting your headphones hooked up, because normally with our interviews we're the problem, and
That's true.
It was a refreshing change of pace. I mean, we had issues too, but we were having them at the same time, so they cancel each other out.
They canceled each other out. You weren't just sitting around waiting on us, because
Yes.
that's been a thing.
Yes, it has. Little peek behind the curtain.
So when did you first find Tonal? How did that come into your life?
By accident. So when I opened my gym, I knew I wanted a cable machine. I had cable machines since the Bowflex days, and using them in my home, in the garage. And then every time I went to a gym, I'd use the cable machines quite often. And so when I finally opened mine, I said, okay, I'm going to get a cable machine. I might even get two. And when I put in cable machine, I had gotten Life Fitness. But then when I went on to discover, say, okay, I need some attachments and get some different things for my cable machine. Well, when I put in cable machine a second time, a month later, Tonal came up. And the screen on the wall, I thought, oh my gosh, this is a big iPad workout machine. Let me look into this. So I clicked on it and I said, honey, I got to have these. And she said, these? I said, yeah, well, I need 4. And she said, 4? What? So we'll just get 1, maybe 2, see how it works. And I said, okay. That okay still turned into 4.
Yeah. I was like, so now he has 6.
So it was all by accident. I was just looking for different attachments for the Life Fitness machine I still have, which is collecting dust now.
So that's kind of fascinating to me. Your first interaction with Tonal was for your gym, not your personal use at home.
Correct.
So that's just kind of fascinating.
That was an interesting day. Very, very interesting day. So I went down to the showroom because when I went online and I tried to purchase the 4, it kept creating an error. And so I went to, I said, okay, well, it's just in San Francisco. That's just an hour drive. Let me go ahead and drive down there. They're open today. I don't have an appointment because they usually do set up an appointment for you to view, try it out. And so I said, I'm going to do that. And I got down there and they were all excited. And I said, okay, well, that's 1. I need 3 more. And her face was as if I was joking. And it was Lisa. And Lisa's like, 4? And I said, yeah, I need 3 more. It wouldn't take my money online. So here it is in cash. And her eyes got really big because then she realized I was serious. And then she got on the phone with Kristen in back office. And we discussed it back and forth. She said, no, we don't sell these to commercial gyms. This is for home use only. And I pulled out my business card. And my business card says, the only gym with digital trainers. I hadn't even bought them yet. I knew sight unseen I was going to have these in my gym. Didn't ask anybody. I just knew it. And when I showed Lisa the card, she looked like, oh my goodness, what if they said no? I was like, I know. What if they said no? All this advertising, I would have looked like a complete liar. Like, it blew my eyes. When she said no, my whole world just caved in. My soul, I could watch my soul just leave my body as she said.
I picture you create like in your head going, well, technically your fingers are digits.
Right.
So it's still a digital trainer.
Oh my goodness.
And meanwhile, poor Lisa is like, shut up, Kristen. I'm about to sell 4 of these things.
Right? Give the man his
That's what I was thinking.
Give the man his machines. Give the man his machines.
We don't need to ask any questions about where he's putting them.
Right.
Let him buy his machines. He's buying one for everybody in his family. Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, that was.
I bet you still get a Christmas card from Lisa every year, probably, don't you? Buying 4 in a shot.
Man, it was.
So how did you get them over the hump? How did you get them to agree then?
I told them I was going to use them in the gym for personal training, which I do. And then I also use them for classes. So I'll set them up. I discovered the Tonal has a building block feature. So when I set up my workouts, I include the Tonal. So we'll do some floor stuff, we'll jump on the Tonal. We'll do floor stuff, jump on the Tonal, do floor stuff, jump on the Tonal. And it works awesome because I can mix in the cardio and strength without having a bunch of dumbbells or balls or all this other stuff laying around. And on top of it, I keep my classes fairly small. So 6 to 8 people. So with the 4, it always works out absolutely perfect because that person can actually log in and not have to change their profile, and it reads all of their stats still. So even through a class, they increase their strength score, they increase their range of motion, all the numbers that it comes with.
Okay.
So is there a max on how many accounts you can have on a Tonal?
No. So when you get the Tonal, you can just add, and then once you say, for instance, you come over and you say, okay, Julius, I'm at the gym, I'm gonna use the Tonal today. Cool. You'll log in, and then when you're done, you log out. And if I want to work on it, I just go behind you, and there should be a little icon with my picture on it, and I can click on the picture.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
That comes in very handy then.
It does.
So
that's a win-win for everybody.
So then you're carrying the monthly subscription for everybody.
Yes.
Right. They don't each have a month. Gotcha.
But they
Just curious about them.
They do pay a fee though. It's not free.
Well, sure, yeah, you're in business, so it would be weird if they weren't. So
You're not saying everybody should go to your gym and
right.
log in.
He's like, don't just walk in thinking you're going to get to use the damn thing. Where's your gym at?
Yeah, tell us about your gym.
Tracy, California. If you blink, you'll pass it. So don't blink. When you hit Tracy, just keep your eyes open. It's a small farm town, about an hour and 15 minutes southeast of San Francisco.
Okay. So when you explained that you were using this like in conjunction with personal training, they like Tonal was instantly like, oh, that's okay then, or was there still some trepidation on their part?
There was trepidation. So when I explained it took me explaining the use, which is very similar to the home use. I'm gonna put them through the assessment, and once they go through the assessment, they'll do the workouts, and it'll mainly be for those who want the use of the Tonal but don't want to buy the Tonal themselves. But if once they decide, hey, I love this thing, I like it, let me go ahead and purchase one for myself. And to them, they were probably thinking that's a great tool for him to put it under so much stress. And that was one of the things I said. I said, well, if anything, I could be what's the term?
Beta tester?
A beta tester, to where, I'm getting all these different types of bodies in here, different types of strength levels, different type of education levels as far as fitness and experience, and from the very beginner and all the way up to the power lifters or the experienced lifters. And maybe that was the key.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That was smart thinking. That was a good way to explain what you were doing and how you could help them.
It was fast thinking.
Yeah. He had to do what he had to do to make those cards.
Right. Did they still get delivered and installed, or did they just throw them in the back of your truck? How'd that work?
So Tonal, you set up an appointment, you do the survey, and bring them over and have them installed by XPO. Okay. You just have to make sure you do the survey to make sure you have the studs correct. Otherwise, you can't have it installed.
Gotcha.
Okay, and you told us where your gym is, but you didn't say the name of it. So for anybody who happens into Tracy, California, you got to tell us.
If you are in Tracy, California, please come to NuEx Fitness, 450 West Lodge Road, Suite 7. You can't miss it. There's a big green guy on the door. He looks very inviting. It makes you want to work out really, really hard.
So how long have you been doing this? Like the gym, owning a gym and stuff like that?
Been a gym rat since high school. I didn't get into fitness. I was actually a business banker for some years until Washington Mutual went under. Or they didn't go under, but when Chase bought them. And Chase said, hey, you can be a teller if you'd like. It's like, a teller? My car payment is more than what a teller makes, but I'm going to do about the rest of them.
That might be a little.
I was a teller. You don't want to do that.
No.
And so I decided to say no and get back into fitness and finish my degree in exercise science, and then again in community health and wellness. And so that's how.
So how long have you been a personal trainer?
10 years, 13. It's been a long time.
Okay.
I coached track and field, and then personal training, and then I've only opened the doors to my studio 2.5 years now.
Wow.
Okay. But 2.5 years for a small business, that's an achievement.
Oh, God.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, my parents were both small business owners, and so I know everybody thinks oh, it's great being your own boss. It also means you never get a day off. If there's something wrong, you have to deal with it. Yeah.
Yes, it's
scared to go on vacation.
Much longer hours. I had a mentor that told me, Julius, because he'd see one of my clients is also one of my business mentors. He said, Julius, 3 things guaranteed. It's going to cost more than you thought. It's going to take more time than you thought, and something's going to get broken. And I was like, thank you. That's really what I needed to hear right now.
But
it's very true.
You need to go in with your eyes open at the same time. Yeah. My dad used to say the best part about being your own boss is that you only have to work. He's like, I only work half days, and it doesn't matter which 12 hours.
12. Oof.
Yeah,
I wish it was just that much. Oh my gosh, some days, some days it's just like, why just give me a futon? There's no way I can leave.
But I bet it's rewarding though, being able to work for yourself as well.
Very, very rewarding. It's even my wife, again with the Tonal, when I said 4, she didn't see my vision, and a lot of people didn't. And they're like, well, just get one, just get one, just get one. I'm like, you don't understand. This is, you're not seeing what I'm seeing. And I had blinders on, no brakes. We're just gonna,
yeah.
And it worked, and it works. And the people who use the machines, they love it. And I have discovered that it's a different kind of person. So you have to like weights, you'll love Tonal. If you're a strictly classes person, it's like, it's cool.
That's interesting because I was never into weights. Like I had curiosity about weights, but as I've talked about before, I was very intimidated by weights. You know, going into a gym and just into a traditional gym, that section is not very like women friendly or beginner friendly to me. But, you know, I don't know, maybe that's just my insecurity. But I absolutely love Tonal, but it's because it takes all the guesswork out of it for me. And so I would think even with the personal training aspect, you're also taking all the guesswork out of it. You know, you're telling people do these things, which I would need. I need that direction.
Exactly. There's a lot of people who they see the weights and automatically get this anxiety. And I had a friend of mine, he owns a karate studio a few suites down, and he came in and the first thing he said, Julius, this is so awesome because I'm not a weights person, you know it. He's like, I just feel so comfortable right now. And he's going through the assessment, and that was the very first thing he said. It's like, I don't feel intimidated. I don't feel like I have to be able to lift heavy. I don't feel like I'm going to do something wrong. Even though my technique may be perfect, I don't feel like I'm going to do something wrong or hurt myself.
Yeah, I feel like that's a huge barrier that Tonal helps you take down. Do you feel like the way you train people has changed with the Tonal?
When they're on the Tonal, absolutely. So they have great programs, how they're structured to give you your desired goal, whether it's maintaining weight, gaining weight, and losing weight. And while I'm there, I step back and just let the coaches do their thing. Now, if I see that there's some form that needs correction, then I'm able to correct it right away. You know, and the community is great where you can go in. They have a Facebook community that you can go in and ask the coaches, and the coaches, they will get back to you. Sometimes it's, 30 minutes, but sometimes it's a little longer. But while they're in the studio and they have questions, I can get to them right away.
Yeah, that's a huge thing. I know there's been times I feel like I'm not doing something correctly. I'm not feeling it. It doesn't feel like I'm feeling it in the muscles that I should be feeling it. And so getting that feedback to be able to make sure I'm doing it correctly, that's a game changer too. And I really appreciate that about the coaches. And I'm sure the people that you train really appreciate that you can help them right on the spot. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And I see you step in the community as well. You often will tell people some ideas or tips and tricks whenever people have questions about form. So I appreciate that you do that. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And there's so much science out there. There's so much science. The coaches are a plethora of information. And especially with I'm looking at the coaches and how all of their body types and their motivation types and all of it, their character, everything. It's amazing that you get all of this complete, what's the word I'm looking for? There's like this complete trainer. If you put them all together, you get this one complete trainer because, the guy who just wants to grunt and lift the foundation off the house off the foundation, you have the coaches there for that. On the flip side of that, someone who can barely stand up or sit down, you have Coach Liz who can help you with those injury recoveries. And I think that is so amazing that Tonal has.
I do too. I really like that. And I like how they have so many programs that are focused on mobility or focused on specific sports, things like that I wouldn't have. I really didn't think about that. I didn't know how important weight training was for movement and power and things like that. I just thought weightlifting was like just to get stronger. I didn't know there were so many other benefits to it. So I've learned a ton since I've had the Tonal.
Well, I think that's the difference between weightlifting and strength training. Huh?
Well, that's probably true, Todd.
That's almost a well-informed thing for me to say. Don't get used to that, by the way. But I do. I think you're right. I think, like you were talking before about how that area of the gym can be intimidating for people. That like you think of the weights as weightlifting and not it's a way to get to a certain place so you can do this other thing better, whether it's soccer or basketball or just being generally stronger.
Yes, definitely. That is true.
So how's it going in your community with having this kind of unique gym experience for people? Are they embracing it as like word of mouth? Is it going well?
I am terrible at marketing, but it's going great because of the big box I came from, In Shape and 24-Hour Fitness. There's people who followed me over and they've said, hey, come on over. And I try to market Tonal, and it's a great machine, but the attention span of the average person scrolling through Facebook is about 15 seconds or so. And Tonal has way more than 15 seconds worth of things that will interest the entire population of how to get stronger, move better, get better at the sports. Like Tonal does so much. I haven't found that recipe to market people to come in and use it. So the clients who come in for one thing, I say, hey, you know what? You want to work out on your own? Here, work out on this machine. Just tell me how you like it. Oh my gosh, I love it. But I have no idea how to market that.
What's your very favorite thing about Tonal? Like that it does?
There's not one. It's the ability to move freely. Some of the things you cannot do with free weights, you can do with Tonal. As far as balance or making sure you're not injuring your joints and not having to put everything down on a piece of paper. Because I'm very old school. I still have my books where I write stuff down, and I realize, I don't have to. It's in the Tonal. Sometimes I like to feel that hard copy and really hard work. I have my number pencil with scratches in it, and whereas everything is just a touch screen, and I'll get used to it. But I still have a paper.
It's like awesome. how the old guy at the office still has a Rolodex.
Yeah. Not that you're old, just to be clear.
No.
You have a system and it works and you're going to stick to it.
Yes, that's my story and I'm sticking to that.
There's certain ways to gauge if someone's old. So like, do you call any technical device the machine? Right? Like that's my great grandma. Everything was the machine. The car, the toaster. It's over there in the machine.
Then you had to guess which machine she was talking about.
And then do you call your wallet a billfold? That seems to be
that would tell your age. That would definitely tell your age.
And I'm sure you do neither of those things, so you're good. You're good.
He's like, well, not now.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah.
So, I am pretty intrigued by these shelves that you offer that are like for the accessories for Tonal. Tell me everything about these, like what inspired them, how you came up with the idea. I want to know like from the beginning.
So I have the worst OCD. My wife, it drives her nuts. I have to have everything squared off. If there's a square in a corner, it has to be parallel to the wall, the carpet. And when I went into the showroom, I saw the shelves. I was like, cool, it's going to come with a nice, neat little shelf. They opened the boxes and installed the Tonals, and they said, okay, bye. I said, whoa. Where are my shelves? Where are my shelves? And they said, you'll have to call Tonal, because I don't think that they realized either they did sell them and they didn't sell them, but he said, you'll have to call Tonal. So I called Tonal and said, hey, there was no shelves in my boxes. And they said, oh, no, those are just for the showroom. And I was like, I'm not putting my handles on the floor. Do you know who I am?
Well, but especially though in a place of business, like
somebody could step on one.
When it's in your home, like you can chuck it on the floor next to it. It's no big deal. Especially because I think most people probably have them in a not a high traffic area, but like in a place of business, that's gonna look janky. You don't want to do that.
Right, just sitting on the floor, and so I said, okay, well, I need to make this shelf. So one of my clients is a machinist, and we put together a design. I said, okay, it needs to do this, it needs to do that. And then I searched high and low for the right shelf. I was being cheap. So the first version was, let's say, prototypes. And then I upgraded them to fit like the Tonal. So then I was filming a workout, and I had the shelf in the background. I knew that I did on purpose. I didn't want to say anything because I was still a little skeptical, but I put the shelf in the background. I was showing a move, and a gentleman said, "Hey, Julius, where'd you get the shelf?" I said, "I built it." He said, "How much?" I said, "I don't know. I got to figure out how much it cost me," because the machinist did it for me because he was excited that I wanted to do something. So he actually built the prototypes for free. So I had no idea how much it cost. After I built it, I sent it to him. And the first 10 shelves, I lost, I believe, $27 on each shelf. It was so bad. Let's just say
that's what being a small business owner is like, right there in a nutshell.
Right. I thought, I'm a business maker. I calculated this correctly. I know this. Right. But after everything's said and done, all the materials and the shipping and the wrapping and so I learned that. I was like, wait a minute, why am I not positive? I sold 10 shelves. Why am I not positive? And so I finally went over the numbers and says, okay, well, now I have to actually charge it correctly. Then a young lady messaged me and said, I want to hang my ankle straps. I said, well, that would mean I'd have to make a bigger shelf so that it can accommodate more hangers to accommodate more handles. It went from there. And then I started building a 5, and then it went to a 6. And then the customer said, okay, well, I want 8. And then, so mine is a truly custom built shelf now, but they're all solid wood. They've all been tested to 100 pounds. 80 stable, but it'll start to fail at probably 105 pounds. And I've heard people say, okay, well, you can get a floating shelf from Home Depot for $20. Okay. And it will probably last you a few months and start to sag. And my shelves, they're not going to sag. They're going to take every bit of 80 pounds. And the only reason I know that is my son was trying to get the bar off of the shelf once. And I turn around, I'm like, whoa, what are you doing? I'm trying to get the bar down. He was literally off the ground, hanging on the bar. And the shelf, right, and the shelf held them. That's when I said, well, you know what? Let me see just how far this thing will break before it goes off the wall. So after 100 pounds, I figured nobody's going to do more than 100 pounds. So I built them for quality and style.
I just picture like you turn around seeing your son climbing on this thing, and immediately, like first things first is a parent yelling at him. And then the next thing being like, now we have to get you to a scale. See how much you weigh.
Right? Oh my goodness.
I love the idea of how you call the first one that you weren't happy with a prototype. Like you just kind of retroactively, like, oh, it's a prototype now. Yeah. I'm going to start calling my ex-wife a prototype. The nicest thing I've ever called her. So thank you for that, sir.
You're very welcome. That is awesome.
Oh my God. I was like, where are we going with this?
And you can get yourself at NuExFitness.com. Click on shop now. And it has a list of different sizes. Some people don't have the extra handles, so you can just get a 4 hanger, or if you want, I customize them beyond that.
So it doesn't, one of the things that I found really intriguing about it is that it has the T-locks in it. So you connect the, it looks like to me whenever you like put the handle up there, you're like sliding it in and connecting it like you do on the machine. Is that right? Am I seeing
exactly? So on the Tonal, the ball has a spring load. You slide it into the slot, turn it 90 degrees, and it'll lock in. With my hangers, I did not put the spring in because there's just more mechanisms that could break. So to take the spring out and then created a cradle for it to set in. So you put the handle in, turn it 90 degrees, and then it sits down in a cradle so it doesn't slide around.
I love that.
That is pretty nifty.
It is. And then one of the other things I saw on your website was that you have like a shelf that comes with the extra accessories too, right?
Yes. When working with so many cable machines, as I mentioned before, you can use a bunch of different handles for a bunch of different movements. And the 4 handles that the Tonal comes with gives you a lot. Then you add the 4 more. Now you're doubling. So Tonal has...
I can't picture like what that does for me. Like for example, you have like, I think like the ankle strap and maybe a different bar or something like, so like what kind of different moves would you be able to do? Just a couple off the top of your head.
So one of the things I really like is it's called the double D ring or the pyramid ring. And what it is both your handles. Imagine if you would putting the 2 handles together, and then it's called a close grip. So when you use close grip for the back, it attacks the rhomboid, which is the center of your back in the middle. So you have your latissimus dorsi, which is the outside, very big muscle in your back, the biggest muscle in your back. And then you have the inside. When your hands are wide, you're engaging the latissimus, which is the outside. When you put those handles together and you pull and you squeeze your shoulder blades together, that's that center back muscle.
Okay.
So using that handle, both pulling from the bottom, the top, or parallel, you're going to strengthen the center of your back.
Interesting.
And how much does a shelf cost?
Like, what's the range? Because
Yeah.
I know you have several options that people can choose from.
Right. The range is $249 for 4-hanger shelf, your basic one, all the way up to $459 for the shelf plus the handles. And then I include the T-lock accessory, so you're not shopping around and having to go to a bunch of different places. Everything drop ships.
Is that shipped or is shipping on top?
That's shipped. My accountant doesn't like it, but I don't feel like dealing with. No, you have to charge separate for this, and you got to charge separate. Okay, relax.
I see. As a marketing guy, so which is what I am. Like, to me, I think it makes more sense to bundle it in, because if I hear $450, and I go and I'm like, oh, and it's $50 to ship, I'm like, but if you just told me $5, I'd be like, okay.
But it's because of tax. I say this because somebody out there might be a tax person and they might be like yelling at the sound right now.
Right.
So it's different. There's different rates.
Okay.
So like, the machine is one thing. That's a specific rate, but then you have to charge taxes at a different rate for the shipping. So that's why a tax person would prefer you to split them out.
Yeah.
And I think some states you can charge on shipping and some states you can't.
Yeah.
I think that gets complicated too, but
that's also why people don't like the tax person.
it's very true.
Right.
No one likes to do taxes. Like that's
You know how you were talking about how when you first built your first batch of shelves, it cost you like $27 a shelf. I know a guy who did a podcast and it cost him like $249 to $450. Because I have a feeling there's a shelf in our future.
There's definitely a shelf in the future. But see, I wanted him to talk to you first, Julius, because you've sold it so well. Now he feels comfortable. If I had just been like, there's this guy that sells shelves, even if he talked to you for the interview, he wouldn't have been convinced, But now you've explained all the thought and everything that you've put into that. Now he's more on board. So
stay tuned next week when we will have a guest on to talk about the Incredible Hulk issue 181. How I'll get that.
I don't know where that came from.
Well, because that's what I want. That's something I want. So I'm gonna. So we'll have that on and have you talked into getting it or allowing it?
I think yours costs more, Tom.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
How long have you guys had your Tonal?
Since November.
Oh.
Yeah. So not very long. Not super long time. 7 months.
Guys, it's been November already?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't pay attention. So tell people again where they can find the shelf, because you said it kind of fast, and I might have talked over
you. You can find the shelf at NuExFitness.com and just click on shop and products, and it'll list all the options. And if you do require or desire an option that's not listed, just give me a call back, and then we'll make that happen.
Awesome. What's your most popular shelf?
6 hangers in black.
I really like the black one because it matches the tonal so well.
It does.
I haven't even seen them, but I'm like, you want it to match.
Yeah, looks very nice. So you said back in high school you were working out then. Have you been like consistent with working out since then, or how did you fit that in when you were an investment banker? How did that work? What's your fitness journey been like?
My fitness journey started off with track and field, and my coach realized, oh my gosh, he's better than average. So let's see what he can do. I went down to the Olympic Training Center in San Ysidro and found out very quickly I was not as fast as he thought I was. Aww. Oh my goodness, that was very humbling. I'll use the word humbling. But the coach there said that I picked up instruction very well. So I was a super, super fast learner. I just didn't have that natural talent. I didn't work out, so I didn't have the power and the speed that these guys had. I mean, I walked on the track, and it was a whole different world. And speaking of Hulk, that's how I felt. These guys on TV look very lean and they look muscular, but they are very strong with a lot of muscle and big quads and hams and glutes. And everything. And I just wasn't him. I didn't work out that much. So that's when I started hitting the gym a lot. And then out of high school, then into college, I was working out. But again, I was working out, but not running because I just didn't make the team fast enough. After that, I was still working out at 24 Hour Fitness twice a day, then got into banking, still worked out. After that, I said, you know what? I really like working out and I like teaching people. Should I do this personal training thing? And then I was convinced, as one of my former track buddies, he said, hey, I just want to work out this summer. Do you have a workout that I can do? Absolutely. So I gave him a workout. And during that summer, that's when I realized, okay, banking's going away. People still want me to train. Let me go ahead and do this for real. Let's see how I like it. And as soon as I graduated, the first client was, I would say, okay. Second client, I got so scared because she fell. Oh, and this has happened to every trainer. They won't tell you these stories, but one of the things that freaked me out, she was doing this foot exercises for agility, and she's a runner. So I was just doing some ankle mobility exercises, and she lost her footing on flat ground, fell backwards, and she didn't hit her head. But inside I was shivering like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my job. I don't know what's going to happen. And so instead of showing that, I just said, are you okay? She said, yeah. I said, all right, get up. We got to finish. But inside I was shivering the entire time.
Wow.
But the fact that she got better, that's when I realized this is my calling. This is what I like to do. I like seeing people get to that next level, get to that next goal. I don't know how your idea of personal trainers were. I thought personal trainer, I was going to train these superstar athletes, these Olympians, these NFL players, and it was going to be this trainer to the stars, which, is very possible, but that is something to achieve. That is very hard to get to. But in that journey to get to that top notch, I found myself always wanting to take the grandma who can barely get on the ground to play with her grandchildren, make her mobile. The high school kid who's looking for that edge so that he can get that scholarship for college, to the teams that are working with a bunch of 14, 15-year-olds who can't get their face out of the phone, just have them focus for an hour. So those things really, really make me feel good. They do. And training elite athletes is, to some, it's cool. To me, it's okay because they already know the movements. They're already going to work hard. They're already going to give it their 110% plus one more. But to push somebody over that edge, or like you, Ms. Crystal, you thought that lifting weights was this intimidating type of room. You walk in, it's like, oh no, I don't think I can do this. To now you walk in the room, now your arms are out a little bit, hey, that's my bitch, move.
Wait, did you just call me her bitch? What?
So that was kind of the history of how you got into personal training, and it sounds like you're really passionate about personal training, and that's really cool. That reminds me of what I hear a lot of the instructors say, that they like helping people go to that next level. I
think it was funny what you were saying about how like the more you think about it, the more you're like, working with the big athletes might not be, because it's like, if making millions of dollars isn't enough inspiration to work out on a regular basis, what are you going to bring to the table, right?
Like it's anybody.
Totally. You shouldn't need someone kicking you in the butt. Like it's literally your job.
I can't imagine that being a job full time. Do you have any advice for people who are just getting started in their fitness journey or just joining the Tonal community?
Yes, follow the instructions and be patient. The assessment, although it may seem, it does go slow if you're an experienced person, but do the assessment. The assessment is going to allow you to go through the movements, record your weights, and the AI fine tunes itself over the next few workouts. So the first 2 or 3 may not feel like, okay, these weights are wrong. You'll have to adjust them 2 or 3 pounds up or down, depending on the movement. But after a while, it's pretty dialed in. I mean, it's really dialed in. So if you don't do the assessment, now you're going to have to adjust the weights a lot more. And for beginners, I really like Coach Liz's, because she explains the movements in detail. So you get enough time to do the movement, relax, especially if it's your first time, because it's going to make you tired. So her explanation will allow you to get the rest before you move on to the next exercise.
That's
Awesome.
great
That is
advice.
great. Also, you left out buy a shelf.
And by a shelf. So you don't have to bend over and use too much of your back to get the handles.
Save that.
Get those handles off the floor.
Right, save that energy. Save it for the workout.
How easy is it to install this shelf? Because I'm going to be the one installing
It is very easy.
Okay.
All you need is a power drill. So
Okay.
are you good with a power drill? That is the only question.
I mean, I can press the button.
I'm not.
Yeah, so it has to be installed into the studs. That's what gives it that 100-pound strength.
Okay.
But the back plate is the bracket allows you to shift it over left or right up to 16 inches.
Oh, wow.
So if you want in a very specific spot, you can actually get it pretty close to where you really, really want it.
That's really thoughtful design.
Because
That's great.
and it comes with the screws, comes with everything you need, minus the power drill.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us. Before we go, just remind people where they can find you, or when they're in that part of California, where they can find your gym.
Thank you for having me. You can look me up. The gym is called NuEx Fitness, and NuEx stands for Nutrition, Exercise, Fitness. We are at 450 West Larch Road, Suite 7 in Tracy, California, 95304. You can call 209-229-8829.
And how could you
answer all your questions. We also do virtual training. So if you are a Tonal light and you need some exercises that you would like to do or have seen done, please send us a message and we can get on Facebook, Instagram, and get those exercises to you via video so you know exactly how to do it, what to do, and what to look for.
Perfect.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Very helpful.
Well, thank you once again for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I now know how to use my Bluetooth headphones with my Zoom.
And I now know that my power cord will not last an entire interview.
Right.
Or my battery won't last an entire interview. So we learned a lot here today.
I didn't learn anything.
We did.
I didn't learn anything.
You did too. You learned all this wonderful.
Oh, I learned prototype.
And it is now the acceptable word to call someone a nice guy.
Dirty fucking prototype.
And on that note,
Yes.
have a fabulous weekend and a happy Father's Day.
4 times over.
You too, and thank you.
Thank you.
Let's
Bye-bye.
talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
So how many shelves have you purchased?
How many what?
Shelves.
Just one.
So you did buy a shelf.
I did. I totally did.
What, are you going to tell me that you bought a shelf?
I thought I'd surprise you when it showed up. I mean, I thought it was pretty clear during the interview.
Yeah,
you were sending all the signals. It was okay.
You never mentioned it again.
You were busy.
How busy am I really?
I don't know. Sometimes I buy things in the middle of the night. You might have been sleeping.
So we have a shelf on the way.
We have a shelf. But Julius says that he's been so busy with orders that it's going to be like 3 weeks. So it'll be a while.
Okay.
So I thought I had some time before I'd tell you,
I
honestly.
thought you could break it to me gently.
I did.
Like, sure could use a shelf around here.
Oh, look what showed up.
Whoops, I dropped this. If only I had a shelf for it. Whew, I thought I was going to have to buy a new rope attachment because I dropped it.
But nope.
So I'm going to take the money I would have spent on the new attachments and buy a shelf.
I saved you money.
Yeah, that's normally how it works. So anyway, that's it for this one. Until next time, where can people find you?
People can find me at facebook.com/CrystalDO'Keefe. They can find me on Instagram and Twitter at ClipOutCrystal.
And you can find me on Twitter at Roger Kubert or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. Find the show online, facebook.com/Superset Podcast. While you're there, like the page, join the group, and wherever you're getting your podcasts from, be sure and subscribe so you never miss an episode. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, keep lifting.
There you are, customize, make it right. AI, form and vibe. Superset will show you what it's all about. It's a tonal workout.
The Superset is made possible in part by support from Tonal.